host, Lillian, and welcome to the Frame of Mind podcast, a podcast dedicated to those willing to reach their high potential selves, open to wisdom and knowledge, and all talk self-improvement, mental health, and mindset growth. In this podcast, I aim to deliver a message that will help motivate you and become better individuals, and someday make you successful. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoy listening to this episode. Welcome back, everyone. I am so beyond excited for this podcast episode. Now, let's rewind a bit to what happened in these 3 weeks that I've been gone, because I promised y'all I was going to be consistent, but that matter didn't come in fact. But it's gonna come now that it's summer, so I can't wait for summer. Let's talk about my birthday. I turned 16 years old on Wednesday last week, and I can't wrap my head around how I am 16 already. Like, I look at myself and I'm like, you're young, but you're old. And sometimes when I think about that, I'm like, what did I do when I was 15? Like, there's so much that I have done, but my head can't wrap around what I have done. And I saw this one TikTok about this one girl, and she was like about how sometimes we don't believe what we have done because we are actually doing it. Like, there's an example that I put out there, and it's like, we always see this image of wanting to become parents, but then when we become parents, it just like it feels like a fantasy. So basically, I felt like I was living a fantasy of my 15 years old of being alive. And once I turned 16, I questioned everything. I'm like, where have I gotten? I feel like I haven't gotten nowhere. But the reason why I felt that way is because I'm expecting so much right now. But God revealed to me, he was like, take your time. Like, you have so much years to come. You're limiting your time to what you have now. When God said that, I understood it, and I was like, dang it. But there's so much I have done being 15. Now that I am 16, which is crazy because I don't feel 16. I feel like I'm in the wrong body. And I'm not trying to say that like, oh, I am matured. No, I feel like I'm in the wrong state. Because you know how we mature throughout experiences, throughout gaining wisdom and knowledge, and being more awake in your subconscious. Because as I mentioned previous videos, how we're driven by our subconscious self. And I feel like a lot of the maturity comes from shining or revealing that subconscious self. You know, what I'm trying to say is whatever was hidden comes to the light. And I feel like that's where maturity comes from. And so, talking about that, today's topic is about emotional maturity. Being someone that has dealt with some things in her childhood and growing up, I feel like I've kind of gotten so used to the idea of what it is to become or be emotionally mature. And this concept wasn't really taught from my parents. This topic wasn't really taught from, hey, you're going to react properly to your emotions. No, I taught myself how to handle my emotions, how I would react to a situation, because let me tell you, how you react in a situation shows how you are within yourself. If you're going to show out and express anger, you're most likely going to have such hatred within yourself because you're projecting that anger to a situation you couldn't control. And so for me, being able to understand the concept of, being emotionally mature, how to respond to the situation, how to use my emotions wisely. Because emotions are playing cards. Emotions are what could be played or what we can use against or what could be helpful. And emotions help you navigate a lot of the times of how you're gonna react to something. Why? Because that situation, like, this is what I think all the time. That situation had to happen. And so when I start thinking that it had to happen, then that's where I start realizing that my emotions toward that situation are worth taking like wise decisions over. So for me, building that concept of maturity emotionally was a big hit growing up. Well, now that I'm growing up, you know? And it's like I see so many of my generation, like I'm talking about Gen Z, having these influences and acting petty, acting full of anger, acting like they're worth nothing. Like your emotions are what can literally make you decide what you want in your life. And why am I saying this is because your emotions are projections of you. And if you're going to project anger, it's because you have anger within yourself. Through a situation, if you're going to express that, that's what you have. If you express with such emotion, most likely a lot of people are going to discern and analyze who you are as a person. This is why it's so critical for you to analyze your own emotion. Stop making your emotions louder than they are when the situation is little. You're making the situation way bigger because you're reacting way bigger. Your emotions are taking control of the situation to where the point the situation is like a huge storm. And then you start questioning yourself. Why can I not get out of this? Why is it hitting me differently? Why is life like this? Because you're reacting it like that. A response with positive attitude wins a lot. You can win by so much by having a positive mind. We have to react with a positive attitude. Why am I saying positive attitude? You know the concept of positive attitude. So why are you not applying it? So why aren't you applying good vibration into your life? Instead, you're attracting negative vibration into you because you're giving that. You're projecting negative projection. Your emotion is giving negative projection. Of course, you're going to receive negative feedback. You attract what you are. And if you are that person that is becoming negative within yourselves, of course, you're going to attract someone that's negative. You're going to attract someone that is not a good vibe for you because you're projecting that. And I didn't want to talk about projections and all of that, but I truly want to say that the way that your mind is constructed can help you emotionally mature a lot. And that's the concept that we don't have or we don't grasp because we want to live by our mindset that is not constructed to our best individual. We need to see ourselves in the position of who we want to be. Who is this person? Who is she? Who is him? You can't say and expect you to become that person when your mindset is stuck in a rut. You have to let the boundaries that is not making you fulfill that person that you want to be break. You can't become that person when the thing that's holding you down is still in place. You got to cut it off. You got to take it down somehow. For me, how was I able to take it down? When I asserted my faith and my mind into what was greater good. For me, the greater good is God. When I asserted my mind to him and to things that are way more valuable than me, that's when I started seeing the change in my mind. And that's when I started seeing that I was actually maturing emotionally. Why? Because how my mind was being constructed. God was transforming me. How was I able to react to people doing me wrong? Because I knew God. I was able to react to so many situations with the mercy of God, with the grace of God. And that's what helped me and motivated me through reacting to situations, to other people with such a mature mindset. And how was I able to attribute that into a situation is by having a good, positive mind, attracting positive vibes and giving off positive vibes. I couldn't give bad energy to receive bad energy. I can't do that. I don't know how some people don't see that they're giving bad energy and then they start complaining how they receive bad energy, because first of all, you gave it off. No matter if you're doing good and you receive bad energy, always do the good things. Always. Always, always, always. Without law, do the good things. No matter if you want to be rebellious or not, do it. Because it pays off so much by doing the good instead of going against you. It pays so much. What is to be emotionally mature? Now, I kind of went off topic, but what is to be emotionally mature? Emotional maturity is a higher state of self-awareness and the ability to clearly state and manage your emotions. I feel like we weren't taught how to manage our emotions properly because, well, this is coming from a Hispanic household. Let me say how we manage our emotions, okay? Whenever they would threaten us and say, like, bro, it makes me laugh because it's like, dang. And I actually thank God because the discipline that has to be needed to be emotionally mature is a lot. And the fact that my parents did this, I was like, dang. And then at the same time, they would always say, oh, you're not the only one. I'm like, oh, there's a lot of more kids, like, you know? But for bro, okay, so for an example, I know a lot of Hispanic children are gonna actually relate to this. You would do something bad, right? And then oh my gosh, your parents will like threaten you with either la faja, la chancla, or manos arriba. For me, it was manos arriba, and manos arriba means hands up. So I can't. Okay. And so basically, my dad would be like, manos arriba. And I would be so scared. And then he's like, si lloras, te pego. And I knew back then, I knew I was in trouble. And I knew he was going to hit me more harder if I started crying. So I had to handle my emotions in a way where I couldn't just express them, you know? So every single time I would get in trouble, right, I would accept it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I got myself in trouble. Hands up. And I actually obeyed. Now, obedience is the key to also emotional maturity, but I'll go to that later on. But dude, when I tell you, I was so scared to let a tear cry. Now that's emotional abuse. But that helped a lot, actually. Like, that helped a lot, building such a barrier within my life and my emotions to where I can express them properly. And I thank my dad for that. But it's so funny to me because a lot of people don't know what manos arribas are. And it's like, you know how the police stops you and they're like, hands up. That's what my dad would do. And we would start crying when we got hands up. I cannot express to you how that was scary. I was like, oh no. I felt like for me, that was more shameful than getting a freaking baja. Because it would be in public too. I couldn't. Bro, that was embarrassing. But let me go into topic. But such discipline helped me also construct a life of being able to express my emotions properly. And through that little discipline that my dad gave me when I was younger, like, it taught me so much about how my emotions are actually playing cards, as I mentioned. Your emotions are what can help a situation or what can literally make the situation go worse. And for me, being able to handle that emotion at such young age, it helped me actually get rid of so many problems. Growing up, that was the biggest lesson for me. And growing up and getting closer to God, I feel like I can respond to any situation with such clarity, with such response, because I don't let my emotions drive me. Now, there's some times where a situation can literally hit us home, but it's the way that we react. We have to keep it to ourselves. Our emotions are our cards. We can't give them away simply because we just want them to be out there. No, our emotions are valuable to us. They show who we are as a person and as an individual. And so if we show and express that we don't care, that we're sad, that we're mad, that we're happy, there's good emotions that we should always say. But the good emotion that you should always project is happiness. Rejoice. Well, I don't even know if that's the right word to say. Well, rejoice is the same as happiness. Happiness, full of life instead of being empty of you. Show the energy of being full of life, because energy like that, I'm telling you, it does so much better when it comes to the light. When you are giving out the light and you're in the light, like the situation is already whatever, it's already a mess, but it could be the light. But when you show that good energy towards that situation, I'm telling you, you're doing way more than the person that couldn't get up. And that's the thing. It's always about your mind. And that's why I love talking about things like this. Because your mind is so powerful. Your mind drives your emotions. Don't let your emotions decide for you. Don't let them. If you're going to let your emotions decide for you, are you truly mature within your emotions, or you're just wanting to feel comfort within yourself? Because the thing is, we need to get out of our comfort zone to be able to fulfill our full potential. Now, you want to fulfill your full potential for sure, but your emotions that's always driving you to choose those decisions, are they truly going to help you? No, you should listen to your intuition. You should listen to what your mind wants to say. Because most of our emotions comes by heart, and our hearts are deceitful. Our hearts are never true. Now, there's some things that are planted in our heart that are true. There's some emotions that are right in the situation, but that's where you have to discern how to use them properly. Most of us feel sadness, but then we use it so brutally. We use it against the person, where we manipulate them, where we start cursing at them or whatever. We start acting like a victim. You got to be able to use them properly. You have that emotion of sadness to use it properly. An emotional mature person knows how to play their emotions right. As I mentioned, your emotions are like playing cards. Play them right. Stop letting that emotion drive you to your insanity. You're letting your emotions drive you when your mind is literally driving you. You're being driven by ambition. You're being driven by motivation. But then you have your emotion tear you down. You can do it. Stop letting your emotion control you. An emotional mature person knows what's the right emotion, what is not the right emotion for this situation. For me, I'm going to put out this example. I've seen this within a lot in my family. They argue a lot, and I don't assert myself in a situation that is not for me. I'm not supposed to be in adult talks, so I don't put myself in it. Stop putting yourself in situations that you were never in it. You were never meant to be in that situation, so why did you put yourself in it? There was no business for you to be in that situation, but you let yourself be in it. Why? Because you wanted to feel some sort of pleasure. You wanted to feel some sort of comfort. You wanted to feel some sort of excitement. You are that bored. You're that bored to the point that you're letting your emotions drive you to another place of insanity. As I'm saying, your emotions can drive you insane. Good vibes, good energy comes through where you put yourself in. If you're putting yourself in a place where you're receiving such bad energy, most likely you're going to see yourself reacting to situation how the other person has. Because you have seen it, you have watched it, and you do not know how to control them yourself. You're doing what they are doing because you cannot understand your own emotions. Emotional maturity comes from the hardest situations that you feel like you couldn't handle it. I feel like the situations that hurt you the most help you realize the humility it took for you to respond to that situation. And I feel like it comes from being humble and being submissive and understanding than being cocky and overestimating or thinking more than the situation is. I feel like we're so focused on the little things that we can't even focus on the big things. We gotta focus on the thing that matters the most. And it's definitely not that situation that is driving your emotions to go insane. It's not that situation that's making your emotions go everywhere. No. What's important is what you believe in. what you believe in. And it doesn't matter religion, your career, whatever it is, what you believe in, you believe that and assert your mind in it. I assert my mind all the times when a situation goes bad to God. Why? Because I need God. When I have my focus to one thing, my focus is directly to that. And I forgot what I've learned in psychology. Selective attention. I think that's what's called. I forgot what it's called. I haven't paid no attention to psychology. But paying attention to one thing is more important than focusing on two things. Focus on the great. If you're gonna focus on something that's gonna distract you, at this point, don't even focus, because you'll rather have distractions lead you on than have the focus drive you on. Focus. Something's hard. Focus. That's how I was able to emotionally mature, when I could focus on the good, when I can focus on God, when I can focus on Jesus, when I can focus on my career, when I could focus on me, when I could focus on the things I need for me, when I could focus on the goal, when I can focus on who I want to be. As I mentioned, you gained a lot by focusing. Focus is the key to most of the situations. Focus. You're in a situation. Focus on the good things. Don't focus on the storm. Focus on the light. If you're going to focus on the storm, don't expect to come out of it soon. Don't expect that everything is going to be clear. No, don't expect that. When you start shifting your focus, then that's when you're going to start expecting, oh, I got out of it. But don't expect whenever you're focusing on the distraction. Don't expect when you're focusing on things that don't matter. Don't expect high quality results. Don't expect that, because you're focused on the things that don't matter to you. That's why you need to focus on you to be able to drive your emotions. You are powering your emotions. You know how to control them. Most of us don't even know how to control them. Some of us are very blessed. Well, actually, most of us are actually very blessed that we have a functioning body, that we have a body that we could be able to control. We have self-control. We have a body that not many people, some people are actually insane, and they can't drive their emotions how we can. There's a lot of people that can't drive their emotions like we can. So why are we making an excuse that the situation was so hard for us? Most of us have gone through so much situations, but it's through your projection. That means, like, through what people project about their situation, it just makes me think you have something that's not healed. You have something that yet you have uncovered or have revealed. You have to reveal that. And how can you do that? By exercising your subconscious self. Now, I do shadow work. I try to implement it almost like every week, at least one prompt. And no, I didn't buy the shadow workbook in Pinterest. Just search up shadow work, and you're gonna start seeing so many prompts that helps you analyze yourself in a deeper connection. Well, I spoke some nonsense right there, but shadow workbook prompts help you connect to your subconscious self and reveal itself to you. And so when you start doing these work or doing these exercises, you're going to start seeing that through the process, you start seeing yourself actually alternating your mind. You're going to start seeing how you can alternate, or how it's possible to change your mind by understanding your subconsciousness, by revealing your shadow. That's what I did to be able to understand myself more deeper and to connect to myself. And that's how I was able to understand my emotions. When I would talk and reflect to myself. Reflection. It's important to reflect because it helps you understand more, you know? And so for me, I would reflect on my journal, do the shadow workbook, whatever. That's that. And then I would analyze it. And I would be like, this is the emotion I felt. How could I react it differently? How could I expose this emotion differently? How can I be able to, use it wisely? Like, just taking time to reflect and analyze that certain emotion, it is so important. And so with shadow workbook or shadow journaling, like, that helped a lot understanding myself emotionally and personally, spiritually, and everything about me subconsciously. And it helped a lot, and I feel like it would help y'all a lot too. So I'll find a way that I can put something out there for you to, analyze yourself. Take some time to reflect on you. How are you? What is the position you're at right now that you want to change? How can you react to a situation that you couldn't control? So that's why it's so important for you to reflect also on your emotions, because an emotionally mature person takes accountability of their emotions. They take accountability of what they have done. They take accountability of what they don't want to admit. Emotionally immature people ignore most of the things that are occurring. You want to be mature, then take accountability and accept it. Stop acting petty. Stop acting ignorant. Stop acting all of that nonsense, because that's not you. Think about it. I know someone behind the screen is actually thinking about themselves. They're like, you're right. Why am I acting this way? Why am I showing this projection of me to others? I don't know. You gotta analyze yourself and reflect on you, because as much as I can talk and try to help you, it's up to you. If you want to change, if you want to react differently, if you want to be emotionally mature, if you want to have full potential, if you want to be able to trust yourself, have that. Reflect on you. Understanding emotional maturity helps you build up emotional strength and emotional intelligence. And that's what's so important to use. Your intelligence and your strength. Most of us have a lot of mental strength while others don't. But that's where we can start maturing. Maturing is a process, and we're always going to mature. And emotional maturity is where you could tell someone is acting their age or not acting their age, based on their emotions. And so maturing emotionally helps you have that mental strength, helps you build that strength and intelligence. Emotional mature people don't ignore their emotions. Your emotions are important as well. Using them and being wise to use them is so important, but most of us think that ignoring the problem, ignoring everything is going to help a lot. Truly, 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 I say to you, it's not. You're not going to fix anything by not revealing an emotion. In fact, we are supposed to have emotions, but it's up to us to, use it wisely. And I feel like the hardest situations is what drives us there. And most of the situations are to test how you are emotionally. I was tested March 23rd. I remember that because I went to a conference, but I got tested on how I was going to assert my focus and how was I going to use my emotions. Was I mad? Yes. But you couldn't even tell I was mad. I was literally like in shock. I was like, and I was mad, but I would be like, I would act like I understood. I acted like I understood everything. I didn't give my opinion. There shouldn't be a space or a room for your opinion to be spoken when you know you're in the wrong. You can't speak on your opinion when also there's no room for you to be in it. I didn't have the room to be in that situation, so why am I going to speak on my opinion on it? I had zero opinions. Couldn't say them. So I didn't speak them. I didn't speak them out. But through that test, it made me realize how I'm actually very proud of myself, the way I reacted to that. it was one of the hardest situations that I could ever experience. And sometimes I started to feel sorry for myself. I'm like, I feel sorry for me. But a mentally strong person doesn't feel sorry for themselves. I don't want to be harsh within myself, for sure. Don't be harsh within yourself either. But having that idea made me realize I'm not a victim. A lot of people have gone through way worse than I have. So why is there room for me to act like victim when they're actually pushing through it? So when I started thinking that way, that's when I started thinking I have no room to act this vulnerable when others are suffering. And when I started thinking that way, it just made me realize how to use my emotions wisely, because a lot of people can't, and a lot of people are actually pushing through. I feel like a lot of your maturity comes from spirituality. Now, a lot of people don't believe in spirits, but I do. This girl does. So it does show a lot of your spiritual maturity, because God commands us in a way to treat our neighbors, number one, with love, and to focus on Him, and ignoring irrelevant babble. There's a lot, but I feel like with such restrictions, it's not. I don't want to call them restrictions, because a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, "I told you so," but with a lot of boundaries set within our character, I feel like we could express who Jesus is through us. Now, that is so important. If you don't understand what I'm saying, let me put it this way. It is so important to express who you want to be through you than who you used to be. Because if you're projecting who you used to be, most likely the person that you want to be won't be able to replace who you are. You have to allow the self that you want to be projected. Don't project who you used to be or who you are, which is also important to project who you are. But if you're not in the position that is going to help you become that person that you want to be, project that person instead. Don't project you, because it's going to hurt you. You're hurting yourself by the moment that you're living through mediocrity. You're hurting yourself by the way you're living, the way you're talking, the way that you're feeding your brain, everything. So rather live and start thinking like the person that, it doesn't mean that you have to be perfect like that person is. No, it's a process to meet that person. But you want to reflect who that person is through you. And for me, my focus is to express Jesus. Who is Jesus for me? How am I going to express His good character? We got to express good character. Oh my gosh. That's another thing. We express the cockiest, most nastiest character of all time. How the heck are you okay revealing that persona within you? Are you not ashamed when you look at your younger self and look at you and be like, who have I become? Because I guarantee that your younger self had dreams, had visions, had such hope. But then look at you now. Like, aren't you concerned? Aren't you a little sad? Because truly, I don't know how you could have that character within you. And it's like there's a lot of character development through emotional maturity. And some of us go through this downhill spiral to where our emotional maturity can be shown because of our character. We gotta start working on our character. And I didn't want to say that to be like, oh, are you ashamed? Because I know a lot of people are nice and humble, but I met people that whose character is actually bad. It's like dookie. I can't curse in this podcast. I'm sorry. I can't curse in this podcast because then I get banned. But I don't know how you can let yourself go through that. And I'm not saying that to make you feel like, oh, what have you? No, I'm being genuine. Doesn't that concern you? Doesn't that just make you feel bad? Are you telling me that your younger self wasn't full of life? Because I'm telling you, when we're younger, we're full of life. We're new to life. We're humble. We don't know nothing. That's our vulnerable state. But then you grow up and you see that you're driven by the influence, and you know how you have changed, and then you start seeing your character change as well. Sometimes I always wonder that to the people that I've seen such character change, and I'm talking about bad character change, not good character change. How the heck did you allow yourself to get there? And I kind of know how, but of course I can't be the one to tell them how. I can be like, oh, I know what. No, like, I genuinely wanted to speak to those people and be like, hey, talk to me about it, because I feel like people like that, you can help. I feel like I am a good person to help about character development, because I've seen my character developed, and I saw myself becoming emotionally mature. I saw myself becoming the person I wanted to be. And so that's why it's so important to help the people that can't help themselves. Someone is probably in their weakest moments right now, and you're gonna help them out. Some people they're holding so strong to their life, to their passion, to everything they have, to live the fullest. And those are the people that we gotta help. If you're emotionally mature, you're also gonna help the person right next to you who's suffering, who needs help, who needs the emotional support. Some people don't have that. Give and you shall receive. Give not because you have to, but give because that's who you are. That's how your heart is. And that's why when I started talking about this topic about your character development, seeing some kids going through such character changes, it makes me feel like a little not a little concerned. It makes me feel a little sad. For me, when I see that, I just want to touch them and I want to touch their heart. I'm like, you can get out of this. You're living by the norms of society and not by your true identity. When I started seeing people like that, I started using what I had as a gift and what I have developed to help them and guide them through themselves to their real selves. Being that emotional support for them. Being that person that they can count on. Because if I'm emotionally mature, I know that I wouldn't react, no, that's an emotion. I could have used that emotion I had for advantage, or I could have done something else. But I took advantage of that emotion so I could be able to guide you. I was planted that emotion so I could be able to use my heart to navigate my mind to reach to you, to touch you, to talk to you. Because you're living in a character that's not you. And we gotta break out of that character so we can be able to know and feel ourselves in the humble state. In a state where we can understand ourselves. In a state where we can be able to approach situations through the positive attributes in life. With positive mindset. With such approach through a situation, we can do a lot within our life. We can choose the good or the bad. Whatever side you want to think about, that's how you're going to be driven by. Whatever you want to be driven by, you're going to start realizing how your situation could have changed if you approached it differently. You could start seeing how you could approach a different person by your emotions. You could start seeing a lot of things by just reacting differently. I want to put out this last example and then we're done. I want to put out this example, and it's for my little sister, and I absolutely love her. I hope she listens to this. If she doesn't, it's okay. But I want to see you grow up. I want to see you become the best version of you. And I did this video dedicated to you because I've seen a lot. I see my reflection through you, and I can tell that you're in a state where you need emotional help and you need to control your emotions. And so I know that through you, I was able to put out an example out for my podcast, not just that, within myself, since I said that you're basically a reflection of me. I want you to approach and see things differently, because it's this shift of perspective that helps you change your life. You talk about how you wish things were different. Well, you gotta start knowing how to control your emotions so you can see how things can be different. And I love you, and I see you in the future with me, literally on the aisle and everywhere. And so I want you to understand that as much as you see me and you wish to be like me, because that's the thing, my sisters sometimes compare themselves to me and they're like, oh, I want to be like her, she's mature in a way. They literally joke around how I'm a potential millennial. I'm like, I don't think that old. But they always talk about how they wish they could use my maturity level. They always question that, and that's why sometimes I feel like a little sad, because me acting this way, I kind of neglect them in a way, and so I kind of feel bad. But it's like I feel like I'm growing mentally so fast to the point that they can't keep up. And so I just want to tell you that just because I was able to develop such maturity at a young age, don't expect you to become the same as me. You might not, but we're different. And you saw how I was able to navigate my emotions and use them throughout my life. And so I want you to know that you can do that too. When I was your age, I was literally controlling how I was reacting because I didn't want to give away my power. A situation is not worth giving away your power. It's really not. You're powerful and you can use it. And this is not just for my little sister. This is for y'all too. You can use your power. Don't give it away to a situation you couldn't control. Because what do you win? You win nothing by giving away your power. Anyways, guys, if you're listening to the podcast on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, finally, make sure you give it a rating. And if you're watching this video, make sure you share it, like it, and subscribe it. That sounds corny. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate the love, the support, and everything that y'all are doing, but not just that, everything that God is doing. Anyways, guys, hope y'all have a blessed day. Bye, guys.